in open innovation, then it becomes really open innovation because you have value creation and value capturing. So you need a business perspective. Now let's move on with IP. What to do if others own your IP, which you really need and which is really valuable for you. You have many large companies which really want technology, which really want IP, which is owned by small companies or by universities. Well, let me give you an example how companies have to change mentality. I'm talking about external corporate venturing. I don't know how much you know about external corporate venturing, but it's pretty simple. You have a small startup company who is backed by venture capitalists, have a beautiful technology, which is patented, by the way. Then you have a big company called XYZ for very good reasons, and it has a venturing department, which I call V. And then a venturing department in a big company says, is it an interesting investment to invest in that small company? And they usually take a minority participation of 15%, 10 to 15%. And if it's interesting, then they take a minority participation. So here we have a relationship, that's it. But then you see there's a business unit in that company, same big company, and it can use that technology, it can exploit that technology to commercialize it in a new product, a new service, whatever. And since there is no relationship, that's why I have a dotted line here, since there is no relationship ex ante between these two, you will see that a large company will invest in the startup company and will use this financial participation as a power tool to enforce the cooperation on the terms of the large company. And that's what happens time after time after time. Now, if this is the way how we have to do open innovation, you may be sure open innovation will not have a long life. So that's why companies are changing attitudes. And I give you an example of a chemical company in the Netherlands. It's only 20,000, it only has like 20,000 employees, but it's a very smart company in exploiting and tapping into external sources. It's a very simple managerial way of thinking about how to deal with small companies. Again, that's a startup company, same startup company. Again, you have the venturing department, same question. But before it invests in that small company, it goes to the business unit who might be interested. And the business unit have ex ante, before there is any cooperation, this business unit have to come to a deal with the startup company, how they're going to exploit together the technology in the next 3 to 5 years. And then you might say, why a big company is doing this? Well, it's all about equitability. It's about building trust, and it's about sharing profits. You have no other way of doing it. Everybody has to win. If you collaborate, you have to both have to win, right? And the company is doing it. It's a three-way negotiation. It's two deals, so you see two arrows in one overall deal. And it's really working, because I have a case on that. I gave it to MBAs, executive MBAs, even policymakers, and people come to this kind of an enlightened cooperation, right? Okay, let's move on, because I don't have that much time. Second point is, can you use IP in a collaborative way in a for strategic purposes? And I give you two examples. One of us setting a standard, not in ICT, because that would be too easy, and a pre-competitive R&D consortium, because we have heard about patent pools and consortia. Well, let's see how it works. I'll give you first an example of the tire industry. In radial tires, you need steel cord, right? Bekaert is one of our big multinational companies in Belgium, and they make steel cord. Now, Continental is their client, and together they have made a new way of weaving this steel cord so that the performance of the tire is 5% better on the road. So it's a collaboration, it's a co-innovation. Then the question is, what should we do? Should we keep it between the two, but the market share of Continental is not that big? Or should we also try to make it as a standard for the rest of the industry and earn more money by royalties? And they chose for the second option. So what they did is, Bekaert, if Bekaert gives the technology, or Bekaert supplies the technology to Continental, no problem. There is no royalties to earn, because they have developed the technology together. But then Bekaert can, at a particular royalty rate, they can also supply to other tire manufacturers, to the whole industry. And all the incomes goes to Continental, because they're losing their competitive advantage. But then we could move on. Continental can source the same technology, the same new way of weaving from other suppliers. So Bekaert has to license out its technology here at the same X% royalty rate. And of course, Bekaert is losing its competitive advantage, so all the royalty rate, all the royalty income goes over there. And to make the whole picture complete, other suppliers can give the technology to other clients at a double royalty rate. And that was the way how the standard was moving in. So now the new way of weaving the steel cord is a standard, and both companies make a lot of money on royalties, much more than they would gain based on a few things. Okay, let's move to the IP issue of pre-competitive R&D. IMEC, I don't know how many people know IMEC in Belgium. Okay, it's a good time to learn. It's an institute. It's an institute. It's not a company, and it's doing pre-competitive R&D on nanoelectronics. So nanoelectronics have the bad characteristic to be very, very, very expensive. If you want to make, let's say, the next chip, next generation of chips, because they're talking about generation of chips, it costs you at least €1 billion. So this huge cost and this huge uncertainty related to it makes that companies may be forced to work together in the pre-competitive, probably not in the competitive, but in the pre-competitive research and development. And so IMEC is a research institute inviting these big companies, usually Koreans and like Samsung and LG, and but also Americans, a little bit less Europeans, and they do the research together. Now, they do that together in a kind of program, which I cannot explain everything, so it's what they call IMEC Industrial Affiliation Program. So the benefits are there, is sharing costs, sharing risk, and so on. But how is the IP issue dealt with? Because we are collaborating with 4, 5, 6, 7 companies, working together on research, on pre-competitive research, and sooner or later we're going to have some IP in our pockets. But how are you going to share this IP, right? So assume we have a few people here working together on an IP issue. Once they have the new invention, they will patent it, and they will own the IP. So this is like the IP which together you are developing. But before we start even, IMEC has already a background knowledge, quite some background knowledge based on PhDs. PhD work, right? They have like 40 or 50 PhDs every year, which finish their PhD, and selectively they have IP. They selectively patent that technological knowledge, right? So before these big companies are joining the party, they have already to pay IMEC for the background knowledge. Now then they collaborate, and then you have a number of people working on a particular technology. You find some very interesting findings, and you patent it. It's yours, right? But then the question is, if we are collaborating all together here in this big project, then we have always the right to use that technology in a non-exclusive way. So you own it, but you cannot exclude all the others to use your technology. You will get some royalties, but the others have always access to it. That's the advantage. You do part of the project, you do part of the projects, but we benefit from all the technology, right? And then we have a third one, which is exclusive licensing, which is very much based on an application. So you can imagine, for instance, a company like Intel working on the microprocessors wants an exclusive licensing on an application on microprocessors. And you see, you win 3 times. You win on background knowledge, you win on the joint technology, and you win on the application technology. How much more I have?
-5.
-5. Yeah. Let's do one more. One more, that's it. This is my last slide, I promise. I could give you some more ads, but this is my last slide. The problem of legal departments in companies. If you are in open innovation, you have to change the role of your legal and also your purchasing department. Let's have a look. In closed innovation, protecting a firm's IP from in closed innovation, the legal department had to protect the firm's IP from infringements. They were highly protective, hoarding technology, and they wanted to maximize the profits for the firm, so they sued all the other firms. In open innovation, it's changing a bit. You have a constructive approach supporting the company's development goals. The legal department should become a strategic partner, and that's a complete new role. They don't know that. And the willingness, they should be willing to take risk instead of risk averseness. And IP and profit sharing and communicate. There should be a communication with partners about the confidentiality and the IP issue and the IPR issues. So what you see is that the legal department has a huge change to make before it can become a partner for companies. And what I see is that a number of new business development managers and research is changing into the direction of open innovation, but the legal department is not. And I can assure you, if the legal department is not your partner in the game, the whole open innovation initiative just got killed. So I will keep it here. I'm over my time. I'm very sorry about that. But if there are any more questions, then we can have the Q&A later on.